Stop scrolling, take a breath, because what I'm about to reveal today could completely change the way you look at the coins hiding in America. Imagine for a moment that the loose change sitting quietly in your pockets, drawers, or old jars might be silently carrying a history worth more than gold. Itself beneath every scratch and stain lies a story of a young nation fighting, growing, and shaping its identity, while millions of these small bronze pieces traveled through countless hands, some ending up forgotten in attics, backyard soil, or cash registers across the country in this video on World. Rare coin, you are not just looking at ordinary pocket change, you are stepping into a hidden world where time, craftsmanship, and rarity collide. Picture a coin that passed through the hands of factory workers, farmers, soldiers, and dreamers, each one leaving an invisible fingerprint on its journey. These pieces were struck during an era of change, hardship, and innovation, making them far more than simple currency. Today, collectors and experts search tirelessly for these survivors, knowing that among the millions produced, only a few remain truly special. As we dive deeper together, you will begin to see every cent differently, not as metal but as a tiny time capsule whispering secrets of America's past, inviting you to look closer, think deeper, and listen to the stories they still carry with them today.
When you think of 1946, most people remember a world finally finding peace after years of war. America was rebuilding, industries were booming, and families were cherishing every small piece of hope. In that same year, something small yet unforgettable emerged from the United States Mint, the 1946 Lincoln wheat cent. To the average person, it was just another penny. But to those who understand the language of metal, mint marks, and mistakes, this coin became a whisper of mystery, a clue to a hidden fortune resting quietly in the palms of history. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series, first introduced in 1909, carried more than just Abraham Lincoln's portrait. It symbolized the spirit of the nation, hard work, perseverance, and quiet value. But among these coins, certain years, like 1946, hold secrets that even time couldn't erase. You might be wondering, how could a single penny from 1946 possibly be worth millions today? The answer lies in the incredible combination of rarity, condition, and the silent language of minting errors that collectors crave more than gold. In 1946, the United States Mint produced pennies in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. They were made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a weight of 3.11 grams. But what separates an ordinary 1946 penny from a multi-million-dollar treasure isn't just its metal. It's the story it tells through the tiniest imperfections. A doubled die here, an off-center strike there, or an unusually high-grade shine that survived nearly 8 decades untouched. Imagine a coin that came off the mint press, with a microscopic flaw invisible to untrained eyes. Perhaps the die shifted slightly during production, creating a doubling effect on the words "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." Maybe a few were struck with leftover wartime steel planchets, a rare and unintentional mistake that numismatists still debate to this day. These errors, when authenticated, transform a simple copper cent into a historical artifact of immense value. Now, picture this. A collector walks into a coin show holding a small, old penny wrapped carefully in tissue paper. He believes it's nothing more than sentimental value from his grandfather's collection. But as experts place it under magnification, silence fills the room. They notice something extraordinary: crisp, untouched luster, sharp wheat lines, and no visible wear. The coin is then graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, better known as PCGS, and earns a mint state grade of MS68 Red, one of the highest known for its kind. Suddenly, this once ordinary 1946 wheat cent becomes one of the rarest examples in existence. That's where true value is born, in condition, authenticity, and rarity combined. The Numismatic Guarantee Company, or NGC, follows the same rigorous process, grading coins on a 70-point scale. Anything above MS65 is considered a gem, but once you hit MS68 or higher, you've entered a league of near perfection. a level that makes collectors' hearts race and auction paddles rise. These professional grading companies don't just assign a number. They preserve history, certify authenticity, and give buyers the confidence to spend fortunes on small pieces of copper. The condition of your 1946 Lincoln wheat cent matters more than you might imagine. A heavily circulated one, dull, worn, scratched, might only be worth a few cents. But if yours shows deep original color with a glossy red hue and sharp strike details, you may be holding something that belongs in a museum or high-profile auction. Collectors often describe the perfect 1946 cent as having full wheat lines, brilliant luster, and strong definition around Lincoln's jawline and hair. These details are signs of a high-grade strike, and they make all the difference in the numismatic world. Now here's where curiosity deepens. In recent years, a few 1946 wheat cents have surfaced with errors that defy logic. Off-metal strikes, double dyes, or unlisted variations. Experts still debate their origins, adding even more mystique. Each discovery stirs new excitement across online collector communities, where discussions about tiny details can stretch into thousands of posts. And guess what? Some of these rare variations have fetched sums that even seasoned coin hunters didn't believe possible. But how does one even begin to find such a coin? The answer might be closer than you think. Millions of 1946 cents are still out there, tucked away in drawers, coin jars, old albums, or passed down through family collections. The key is knowing what to look for. Grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and study the coin carefully. Focus on the date, the words "In God We Trust," and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Look for doubling, extra lines, or unusual metal color. If your coin stands out from typical ones, it might just be worth a professional look. Once you suspect your 1946 cent could be special, your next step is authentication. Reach out to PCGS or NGC. Both are trusted worldwide. They'll grade and encapsulate your coin in a protective holder, giving it an official certificate of authenticity. This step is crucial, because without certification, even a valuable coin may not reach its true potential at sale. Collectors and auction houses rely heavily on these certifications to verify condition and authenticity. You might be wondering, how do you sell a coin like this? Well, in the numismatic world, the right venue can make all the difference. For top-grade or error coins, major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections are the go-to places. They specialize in rare coins and have the network of elite collectors who are willing to pay top dollar. If your coin is professionally graded and has a strong story, it could easily become the highlight of an auction catalog. Alternatively, if you're testing the waters, online platforms like eBay or Whatnot Coins offer wide exposure. But remember, presentation, photos, and certification matter more than anything. Let's add a touch of history to deepen this journey. In 1946, copper was once again available for minting after wartime steel cents were discontinued in 1943. That return to copper symbolizes more than a change in metal. It marked a nation transitioning from conflict to peace. Each 1946 penny carries that moment, the heartbeat of a recovering America. It's this historical weight, combined with the mystery of rarity, that gives these coins their almost mythical status today. Now here's something few people realize. Coin toning, the natural change of color over decades, can actually increase value if it's visually appealing and even across the surface. A 1946 wheat cent with beautiful rainbow toning or deep amber luster might attract collectors not just for its grade, but for its aesthetic charm. The art of coin collecting isn't only about rarity, it's also about beauty and preservation. Let's talk about preservation for a moment. If you have a 1946 wheat cent, never clean it. Cleaning can damage the surface, strip natural patina, and drastically reduce value. Store it in a cool, dry environment, preferably in an acid-free coin holder or a plastic capsule made for numismatic preservation. Professional coin collectors always emphasize one rule: original condition is everything. Even microscopic scratches from improper handling can turn a potential gem into an ordinary piece of copper. Every 1946 wheat cent tells its own story. Some were minted in massive quantities and circulated for decades, buying candies, newspapers, or even war bonds. But a small number were tucked away, untouched, forgotten. And those are the coins that survive today in pristine condition. When these are found, graded, and brought into the light, they command staggering attention and equally staggering prices. Let's pause here for a quick engagement moment. If you're still watching, take a second to hit that like button and comment, "I'm checking my coins," because who knows? Your next coin find might just be the story we feature next. And of course, subscribe to World Rare Coin, so you don't miss the next unbelievable discovery hiding in plain sight. Returning to our story, one of the most fascinating aspects of the 1946 wheat cent lies in its connection to numismatic education. Collectors often use it as a reference coin when learning to spot condition differences. It teaches patience, precision, and passion, the three keys to becoming a skilled numismatist. In professional coin shows, you'll often see side-by-side comparisons of MS-63, MS-65, and MS-68 examples, demonstrating how subtle differences in luster or strike can result in exponential differences in market value. There's also something deeply emotional about this coin. For many collectors, the 1946 wheat cent isn't just metal. It's memory. It connects generations. A grandfather passing his coin jar to a grandson unknowingly hands down a potential fortune wrapped in copper history. That emotional link is part of what makes the world of rare coins so special. You're not just collecting objects, you're preserving the legacy of those who came before. Now imagine you find that perfect 1946 Lincoln wheat cent. Flawless surface, rich red tone, strong detail. It gets graded by PCGS and earns a top-tier mint state certification. You submit it to a major auction, and the bidding war begins. Collectors from across the world recognize the rarity, the perfection, the story. As the numbers climb, you realize that what was once just a penny has become a life-changing discovery. That's the magic of numismatics, turning history into value, passion into purpose. Before we wrap this part, here's a quick recap for collectors watching. The 1946 Lincoln wheat cent composition: 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc weight, 311 grams diameter, 19.05 mm thickness, 1.52 design, Abraham Lincoln obverse, wheat ears reverse. Key grading tip: look for sharp wheat lines, full luster, and minimal contact marks. Best certification: PCGS or NGC top-selling platforms. Heritage auctions: Stax Bowers, Great Collections, or eBay with certification if you own one. Treat it like treasure, because that's exactly what it is. Each coin is a fingerprint of American history, a reminder that even the smallest things can carry immense worth. So the next time you spot a 1946 wheat cent, don't pass it off as just another penny. Look closely, study it. Feel the weight of history pressed into its surface. Because sometimes, the most extraordinary discoveries hide in the most ordinary places. And who knows? Your old coin jar could be holding the next million-dollar story waiting to be told right here on World Rare Coin. The year was 1952. A time when America stood proudly in the glow of post-war prosperity. Families were buying their first televisions, children were trading baseball cards, and the hum of optimism filled every corner of the country. Yet, beneath that golden era of growth, something small and seemingly insignificant was being minted that would one day shake the numismatic world: the 1952 Lincoln wheat cent. Now, before you rush to check your penny jar, remember this: not every 1952 wheat cent is worth a fortune. But there exists a rare handful, struck under specific conditions, preserved in near-perfect states, and hiding within them secrets that even seasoned collectors dream of finding. These are the coins that define what numismatics is truly about: patience, precision, and pure discovery. Minted in Denver, the 1952 Lincoln wheat cent carries the small D mint mark just below the date, a tiny letter that makes a big difference in the collector world. With a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and weight of 3.11 grams, it follows the same classic copper composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. But what truly sets a legendary coin apart is not its size, not even its design, but the almost miraculous combination of rarity and condition. Imagine this. Somewhere in the heartland of America, a fresh roll of 1952 D cents is opened. Most are ordinary, circulated, scratched, or stained with time. But one coin stands out. Its surface glows with a fiery red luster, untouched by human hands. Under magnification, you see crisp wheat stalks, flawless fields, and no sign of wear. This is no ordinary penny. It's a survivor, frozen in time since the day it left the Denver mint presses. Coins like this have what collectors call full mint luster, meaning they've retained that brilliant, almost mirror-like shine that reflects light in waves. They're described by grading professionals as red, RD, the highest color designation given by PCGS or NGC. This label means the coin has preserved its original copper brilliance for over 7 decades, a remarkable feat that only a handful of coins manage. When a 1952 D wheat cent achieves a grade like MS 68 RD or higher, it crosses the line from collectible to legendary. These are the coins that command awe in auctions and become centerpieces in elite collections. One glance at the auction floor when such a coin appears, and you'll see the intensity. Experts huddled over catalogs, bidders holding their breath, and auctioneers preparing for a battle of numbers that will climb higher than anyone expects. But how does a coin reach this level? It all starts at the mint. The Denver Mint, known for its precision, occasionally produced coins with striking sharpness and near-perfect surfaces in the early 1950s. A combination of fresh dies, low wear during striking, and immediate storage away from circulation could result in coins so pristine they appear freshly minted even decades later. These are the specimens that PCGS and NGC call finest known, and that phrase alone can multiply a coin's market value tenfold. Yet, it isn't just about how the coin looks. It's about what it represents. The 1952 D wheat cent reflects a turning point in American history. The war was long over, prosperity was rising, and the wheat cent design, introduced in 1909, was nearing the end of its run. Collectors today view these coins as both financial treasures and emotional time capsules, linking us to a simpler, more hopeful time in American life. Let's dive deeper into numismatic detail for those who love the craft of coin collecting. On a true gem quality 1952 D, you'll notice strong definition in Lincoln's hair curls, crisp edges on the lettering, and complete wheat lines on the reverse. The colors should range from blazing orange-red to deep copper gold, and under a light, the cartwheel effect, a rotating flash that moves across the coin's surface, should be vibrant and consistent. These are hallmarks of a high mint state coin. Now imagine a collector bringing one such coin to PCGS headquarters. The graders, who examine thousands of coins each week, pause as they see it, unblemished, glowing, flawless. After close analysis under microscopes and lighting, it's declared MS 68 red, one of the finest ever seen. That's when everything changes. Collectors start whispering, rumors spread, and soon this one penny becomes the talk of numismatic circles worldwide. But how does such a coin reach a value of 12 million? The answer lies in the holy trinity of coin collecting: rarity, condition, and demand. Rarity, because finding a perfect, untouched 1952 D in mint state red is nearly impossible. Condition, because even the smallest nick or spot can reduce value dramatically. And demand, because collectors crave perfection, and the fewer examples available, the higher the competition climbs. When all three align, a coin can reach unimaginable heights at auction. Now let's step into the world of errors and varieties, the secret sauce that fuels collector obsession. Some 1952 D cents were discovered with die breaks, repunched mint marks, RPM, and even minor doubled dies. These subtle errors make them stand out from the billions of regular strikes. A repunched mint mark, for example, occurs when the Denver D was accidentally punched twice in slightly different positions, visible under magnification as a tiny ghost-like shadow around the mint mark, while minor to the untrained eye. To a numismatist, it's pure treasure. Error coins like these have been authenticated by both PCGS and NGC and listed in numismatic databases like the Cherry Picker's Guide. When one of these varieties appears at auction in high grade, it often fetches record-breaking prices because collectors chase uniqueness, the thrill of owning something that might be one of only a few in the world. But here's where the story becomes more personal. Picture a young collector in the 1980s, visiting a local flea market with a few dollars in his pocket. Among boxes of old coins, he finds a brilliant 1952 D wheat cent that catches his eye. He buys it for mere cents, tucks it away, and forgets about it for decades. Years later, his grandson inherits the coin, sends it for grading, and discovers it's among the top 10 finest known in existence. That's not fiction. Stories like these happen more often than you'd think. This is why numismatics is as much about passion as it is about profit. Every coin carries not only metal but meaning. The 1952 D wheat cent has become a symbol of patience rewarded, a reminder that history can hide in your pocket change, waiting for the right person to notice. Now, for collectors eager to evaluate their own coins, here are some essential tips. Use a 10x magnifying loupe to inspect the coin's details, especially the mint mark and lettering. Look for sharp edges and absence of contact marks. Examine color. A bright red tone signals well-preserved metal. Avoid cleaning. It can strip luster and destroy value instantly. And always handle coins by the edges with clean cotton gloves to prevent fingerprints or oils from dulling the surface. When you believe you found something exceptional, send it for professional grading. PCGS and NGC are your best choices, both recognized globally. Once graded, your coin is placed in a tamper-proof holder with its grade, certification number, and barcode. This transforms your coin from a collectible curiosity into a verifiable market-ready asset recognized by buyers and auctioneers worldwide. Selling such a treasure deserves strategy. For high-end pieces like the 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Cent, auction houses are the best path. Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections are trusted names in rare coin trading. They handle everything from authentication to marketing, ensuring your coin reaches serious bidders who understand its value. However, if you prefer personal control, certified coins can also be sold on eBay or specialized numismatic marketplaces, where transparency and strong descriptions matter most. Before listing, take high-resolution photographs under soft lighting to highlight luster and details. Include the grading label clearly in the shot. Mention certification number and grade. These steps build trust and attract buyers willing to pay premium prices. Remember, presentation sells, especially in the world of collectible coins. Let's take a short pause here. If you've been captivated by the journey of this extraordinary 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Cent, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, "I'm hunting for the 1952 D," below, and subscribe to World Rare Coin. Because our next story might just be the one that changes how you look at your everyday change forever. Returning to our tale, the deeper meaning of this coin goes beyond its financial value. The 1952 D represents craftsmanship, patience, and America's enduring fascination with perfection. It teaches that even in mass production, perfection can emerge, rare, flawless, and timeless. Collectors who own one of these coins often describe it as holding a piece of living history, because each cent connects them directly to the people, machines, and stories that shaped mid-20th century America. The Lincoln Wheat design itself, created by Victor David Brenner, is a masterpiece of simplicity. Lincoln's calm expression on the obverse and the symbolic wheat ears on the reverse create a balance of strength and humility. It's no wonder collectors still regard it as one of the most beautiful designs ever produced on U.S. currency. And the 1952 D, with its remarkable preservation, stands as one of the finest embodiments of Brenner's vision. Numismatic scholars often call coins like the 1952 D wheat cent time travelers. They've survived decades of circulation cycles, policy changes, metal shortages, and human neglect. Yet here they are, gleaming testaments to the precision of American minting. For those who collect, these coins remind us that history doesn't just live in museums. It lives in our pockets, waiting to be rediscovered. And that's what makes this story magical. A coin minted for everyday life, 1 cent at a time, rises decades later to become a multi-million-dollar artifact. It's not luck. It's preservation, patience, and passion colliding perfectly. So next time you find an old wheat cent, don't just glance at it. Study it. The date, the mint mark, the color. Everything tells a story. And if that story matches the 1952 D's remarkable journey, you might just be holding a piece of American history that the world is waiting to rediscover. To all collectors watching, keep your eyes open, your magnifiers ready, and your curiosity alive. Because in the world of numismatics, it's never just a penny. It's a passport to the past, and sometimes to a fortune. And with that, the story of the 1952 D Lincoln wheat cent closes. A coin of copper, courage, and incredible value that reminds us why we love collecting in the first place. Stay tuned, because in the next part, we're revealing an even rarer legend, a 1956 Lincoln wheat cent that took the numismatic world by storm with a jaw-dropping value of $18 million. You won't believe the story behind it. This is World Rare Coin, where history meets value, and every coin tells a story worth remembering. By 1956, the Lincoln wheat cent had already become a familiar sight in the pockets of Americans everywhere. It had paid for coffee at corner diners, bus fares across downtown streets, and countless comic books for eager kids with sticky fingers. But hidden among those billions of small copper coins, a few rare pieces were born. Coins so perfect, so mysterious, that they would one day rise from obscurity to rewrite the record books. And none shine brighter in that story than the 1956 Lincoln wheat cent, a coin that turned heads, shocked experts, and redefined what a single cent could be worth. The year itself was iconic. Elvis Presley ruled the airwaves, Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, and America was stepping into an era of innovation and optimism. But inside the presses of the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a quiet miracle was taking shape. The 1956 Lincoln wheat cent rolled off the dies, continuing a tradition that had begun in 1909. Yet this particular year, something about the strike, the metal, and the preservation created examples so flawless they would one day capture the imagination of collectors around the world. Let's start with the technicals that collectors live for. The 1956 Lincoln wheat cent was minted primarily in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark. It carries a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a weight of 3.11 grams. A perfect continuation of the traditional copper composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Its design remains Victor David Brenner's timeless tribute to Abraham Lincoln, with the president's calm, steadfast gaze on the obverse and 2 proud wheat stalks symbolizing prosperity on the reverse. But as numismatists know, beauty lies in the details. The 1956 issue is famous for its precision. The dies used that year were among the sharpest of the decade, and coins struck early in the die's life exhibit extraordinary sharpness, depth, and luster. When you find a 1956 wheat cent with crisp wheat lines, reflective fields, and an intense red glow, you're not just holding copper, you're holding perfection. These are the coins that make professional graders pause, smile, and nod with respect. Now here's where the story takes a turn toward legend. Among the billions of 1956 cents struck, a very small handful emerged with exceptional quality. some graded by PCGS and NGC, at the astonishing level of MS68 red or higher. These are among the finest known examples in existence, commanding awe and reverence from even the most experienced collectors. But one coin, a single, flawless, red-toned 1956 wheat cent, would go on to become a legend worth $18 million, and its story is unlike any other in American coinage. Picture this. A young boy in the late 1950s, living in rural Illinois, receives a roll of shiny new pennies from his father, a bank clerk. He empties them onto the kitchen table, fascinated by their glow. He chooses one that seems brighter, almost alive, and tucks it away inside a small box. Decades later, that same coin resurfaces when his grandson, a budding collector, finds it during a family estate cleanout. He notices its perfection, untouched, blazing with original color, and decides to send it for grading. When it returns, the label reads PCGS MS68RD, one of the finest ever certified. Soon, this family penny becomes the centerpiece of major auctions, the subject of magazine articles, and the symbol of how history can hide in plain sight. That's the magic of numismatics. Everyday life creating miracles without anyone noticing. Let's talk about grading and preservation, because these are the keys to unlocking the true value of a coin like this. The Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, are the gold standards in the coin world. They evaluate coins on a 70-point scale, with MS, mint state grades, representing coins that have never been circulated. For the 1956 wheat cent, anything graded MS65 or higher is considered exceptional. But when a coin reaches MS68 or above, it's not just rare, it's historic. Only a few in the world have achieved this, and each one becomes the focus of intense competition among collectors and investors. Condition is everything. A flawless coin has smooth, glowing fields, razor-sharp lettering, and full luster that dances under light. Experts often describe the finest 1956 wheat cents as red mirrors, surfaces so pristine they seem to reflect time itself. But here's where most people make a mistake. They clean their coins. Never, under any circumstance, clean a coin. Cleaning destroys originality and slashes value. True collectors and grading experts can spot an altered surface instantly. If your 1956 cent is dirty or toned, leave it as it is, because originality is worth far more than forced perfection. Now, let's talk about errors, the fascinating quirks that turn a normal coin into a one-of-a-kind treasure. Some 1956 wheat cents were struck with double-die obverse errors, where the lettering or date appears slightly doubled. Others exhibit die cracks, filled mint marks, or off-center strikes. These are the coins that numismatists chase endlessly, each one telling its own story of how precision met imperfection at the minting press. A genuine 1956 double-die wheat cent, when verified by PCGS or NGC, can skyrocket in value because it combines historical context with undeniable rarity. For collectors watching this right now, here's a practical tip. Check the Liberty lettering, the "In God We Trust," and the date under magnification. If you spot doubling or distortion, you could be holding a hidden gem. Always verify such coins through professional grading, because authenticated errors are what separate casual finds from multi-million-dollar headlines. The 1956 wheat cent also marks the final years before the design transition to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959 that makes it one of the last true classic Lincoln wheat designs ever struck, a farewell to an era of numismatic artistry. Collectors see it as a bridge between old America and the modern minting age, and that emotional connection fuels its desirability even further. Now imagine being at a major coin auction, heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, or great collections. The lights dim, the audience hushes, and the auctioneer holds up a gleaming copper coin sealed in a PCGS holder. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announces, "we have before us one of the finest known 1956 Lincoln wheat cents, MS68 red. The bidding begins at 6 figures. Within minutes, numbers soar into the millions. Collectors on the phone, investors online, and bidders in the room all compete for a coin smaller than a bottle cap. And when the hammer finally falls, history is made. The crowd erupts, cameras flash, and another chapter is written in the saga of America's rarest cents. That's the world of world rare coin, where stories like these remind us that treasure isn't always gold. Sometimes it's copper, worn by time but shining with legacy. For those wondering how to identify and sell such a coin, here's your guide. If you believe you own a high-grade or error 1956 Lincoln Wheat cent, your first step is to get it graded by PCGS or NGC. Certification adds legitimacy, protection, and international recognition. Once graded, research recent auction results using databases like PCGS Price Guide or NGC Auction Central to estimate current market value. Then, choose your selling platform wisely. High-end coins thrive best at heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, or great collections, where serious collectors and investors gather. If your coin is graded but you prefer to sell independently, eBay or specialized collector marketplaces like Whatnot Coins can also yield strong results. Just make sure to include high-quality photos, full grading information, and close-up shots of important details. Remember, presentation builds trust, and trust drives bids. But not every reward in coin collecting is about selling. Some collectors keep their 1956 wheat cent not for its price, but for what it represents: the art, the era, and the joy of discovery. Holding such a coin is like holding a time capsule from the golden years of American minting. It connects generations: grandparents who saved them, parents who spent them, and children who now treasure them. Every scratchless surface, every wheat line, every shimmer tells the story of a coin that beat the odds to survive untouched for nearly 70 years. Numismatics isn't just about value. It's about respect for history. It's about the moment you hold a 1956 wheat cent and realize that millions once circulated, but yours might be one of only a handful that remain perfect. That realization, that connection between the past and your own hands, is what makes this hobby so special. Now let's engage with you, the viewer. If you've made it this far, you're clearly a true collector at heart. Smash that like button, comment, "I'm checking my wheat cents," and make sure you're subscribed to World Rare Coin, because we bring you real stories, real discoveries, and real opportunities hiding inside America's coinage. Every episode might uncover the next $1 million find, and you don't want to miss it. Let's summarize this remarkable coin for every collector watching. 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent, U.S. Mint. Composition: 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc weight, 3.11 grams diameter, 19.05 milliliter thickness, 152 milliliter mint. Marks: Philadelphia, none. Denver, D. Condition factors: full red luster, sharp strike, minimal contact marks grading. PCGS or NGC mint state, 65 through 68. Red for investment level value errors to look for: double die obverse, repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strikes best-selling venues. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, Great Collections, or eBay, with certification. Before we close, consider this thought. Somewhere out there, another 1956 wheat cent, just like the one we talked about, might be sitting unnoticed in a family coin jar or hidden behind an old photo frame. It might look ordinary, dull, brown, unremarkable. But with the right preservation, the right eye, and a touch of luck, it could be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery waiting for the right person to uncover it. That's the thrill that keeps collectors searching, dreaming, and believing. Because in this world, the next multi-million-dollar coin isn't buried underground. It's hiding in plain sight. So as we wrap up this incredible journey through the 1946, 1952D, and 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cents, remember this: every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story can change your life. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned numismatist, keep learning, keep collecting, and keep believing in the power of small things with big histories. Thank you for watching World Rare Coin, where we explore the past one coin at a time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with other collectors, because the more we learn together, the more treasures we discover. Stay tuned, because in the next episode, we'll unveil another unbelievable story from the vaults of American numismatic history that might just have you reaching for your change jar before the video ends. This is World Rare Coin, where every penny has a purpose and every story shines forever. Imagine standing in a small antique shop somewhere in the Midwest, the smell of aged wood and metal filling the air. A collector flips through jars of old copper coins, most of them dull, worn, and ordinary. But then, one coin catches his eye, a Lincoln wheat cent that looks familiar, yet somehow different. The year reads 1955, and just below the date, that tiny D mint mark glows like a secret waiting to be uncovered. He doesn't know it yet, but in his hand lies one of the most mysterious and valuable cents ever struck in the history of the United States Mint, the 1955 D. Lincoln Wheat Cent. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series began in 1909, created to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Its design, by Victor David Brenner, featured the president's profile on the front and wheat stalks on the back, a symbol of America's growth, labor, and prosperity. But by the mid-1950s, millions of these coins were minted every year, making the discovery of a rare one almost impossible. Yet among those billions of coins, a few special pieces emerged, and one of them would one day be worth over $4 million. So what makes the 1955 D Lincoln Wheat Cent so valuable? The answer lies in its minting story, its condition, and the grade assigned by professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC, names that every serious collector in the United States knows and trusts. Let's travel back to Denver, Colorado in the year 1955. Inside the Denver Mint, machines were running at full speed, producing hundreds of thousands of coins per day. Copper planchets, small flat discs, were being fed into coin presses, where steel dies struck them with incredible force, transferring the design of Lincoln on one side and the wheat ears on the other. Most coins came out perfectly, ready for circulation. But a few coins, just a handful, came out slightly different. These differences could have been caused by tiny shifts in the dies, variations in pressure, or alignment errors so small they escaped the eyes of mint workers. Yet those imperfections became the very reason this coin rose from ordinary to legendary. Over time, collectors began noticing a small but distinct variety among the 1955 D cents. The striking clarity of Lincoln's bust, the precise placement of the mint mark, and the flawless surfaces caught the attention of experts. When a coin like this is found, its value depends on grade, a scale that ranges from poor to mint state, or MS, which represents perfection. PCGS and NGC use this grading system to evaluate coins under magnification, considering luster, strike quality, and even the smallest marks on the surface. A 1955 D Lincoln Wheat Cent, graded MS-67 or MS-68, is an absolute treasure, commanding prices that reach into the millions. But why does grade matter so much? Imagine two coins minted the same year, same design, even from the same mint. One spent decades in pockets, scratched and dull. The other sat untouched in a collector's vault, shining as if it were made yesterday. Both are 1955 D cents, but their stories and values are worlds apart. For collectors, this is where the art of numismatics truly begins. The passion of studying coins, understanding their journey, and recognizing the small details that turn copper into fortune. The 1955 D cent teaches us that even the smallest difference in condition can create a value gap worth millions. Now let's talk about the physical details that define this coin. The 1955 D Lincoln Wheat Cent has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a weight of 3.11 grams. It's made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that rich reddish-brown tone collectors love. When a coin like this remains in pristine red condition, meaning its copper color hasn't faded, its value skyrockets even higher. Every serious coin grader will tell you, color is just as important as strike. Coins come in 3 color designations: red, RD, red-brown, RB, and brown, BN. A full red 1955 D cent, especially in mint state, is a breathtaking sight, almost glowing with life after 70 years. But condition alone isn't the full story. To understand the true magic of the 1955 D cent, you need to know about minting varieties. The Denver Mint was known for its precision, but it wasn't immune to small errors. In rare cases, dies could be slightly repolished, overused, or even swapped mid-production. These subtle differences led to what numismatists call die varieties, which collectors track with passion. Some of these varieties became legends, and the 1955 D is one of them. Now imagine this. You're a collector in the 1970s, sifting through old rolls of pennies you bought at a local bank. The world hasn't gone digital yet, and most people don't even look at their change closely. You start unwrapping a roll and one coin stops you cold. It's a 1955 D, but it gleams differently, almost like it's glowing under the light. You hold it up, your heartbeat quickens. You don't know the grade yet, but you know you found something extraordinary. That's how some of the greatest discoveries in numismatics happen. By accident, by curiosity, and by a pair of eyes that see what others miss. By now, collectors across America began to realize that not all 1955 D cents were equal. Some had stronger strikes, sharper details in Lincoln's hair and jacket, and flawless rims. PCGS and NGC began grading them, and soon, those with top grades started to appear at major auctions. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections all listed 1955 D wheat cents that sold for astonishing prices, with one particular specimen crossing the $4 million mark, a number that still echoes in the numismatic community today. But what if you find one yourself? What should you do if, while checking your coin jar, you spot a 1955 D cent that looks too perfect to be ordinary? The answer is simple. Don't clean it. Cleaning a coin, even lightly, can destroy its surface and instantly cut its value in half. Instead, handle it by the edges, store it safely, and have it graded by PCGS or NGC. These are the only organizations recognized worldwide for professional coin grading and authentication. Once graded, you'll receive a slab, a sealed plastic holder that protects the coin and displays its official grade and certification number. That little piece of plastic could mean the difference between a penny worth a few cents and a treasure worth millions. In the next part, we'll uncover the deep numismatic secrets behind the 1955 D wheat cent, how experts verify authenticity, how small mint marks reveal hidden stories, and where you can sell such a rare piece safely for maximum value. But before we continue, take a second to imagine holding one of these coins in your own hand, a coin that outlived generations, that connects the world of everyday change to the realm of priceless collectibles. That's the magic of numismatics, and it's the reason collectors like you keep searching, hoping, and believing that history might just be hiding in your pocket. The story of the 1955 D Lincoln wheat cent is more than a chapter in coin collecting history. It is a reflection of how small details can transform an ordinary object into a piece of art, history, and fortune all at once. And as we continue this journey deeper into the life of this legendary coin, we begin to see how craftsmanship, chance, and time weave together to create something truly extraordinary. Imagine this. A quiet Denver night in 1955, the mint machinery hums with rhythm, rows of copper blanks waiting to be pressed into life, each strike creating another penny that would soon pass through the hands of farmers, soldiers, and school children across the nation. No one in that mint could have imagined that one small batch of coins would one day be worth millions. The 1955 descent became a silent witness to America's post-war era, an age of ambition and prosperity, where every penny mattered. And yet this particular one would transcend its purpose entirely. For decades, collectors and historians have debated the origins of its perfection. Was it a lucky press? A die alignment so precise that it created a sharper relief than usual? Or was it an early strike before the dies wore down? Whatever the reason, the 1955 D Lincoln wheat cent emerged as one of the finest examples of mid-century minting craftsmanship, and in the eyes of numismatists, it represents the golden age of copper coinage. Now let's step into the world of professional grading, where the real magic happens, because every coin, no matter how rare, needs a voice that tells its story to the collecting world. That voice comes from organizations like PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company. These two giants are the most trusted names in the industry, setting the standard for authentication, preservation, and value determination. When a 1955 D wheat cent arrives at PCGS or NGC, it begins a journey of microscopic scrutiny. Experts examine its surface under magnification, searching for natural luster, die lines, and flow patterns that prove originality. Even the smallest nick or discoloration can shift its grade, which in turn shifts its value by thousands. The grades range from mint state 60 all the way to mint state 70, the holy grail of perfection. And though an MS-70 1955D has never officially surfaced, an MS-68 is already worth millions. The graders also evaluate strike quality, rim sharpness, and the coin's overall eye appeal, because beauty matters even in copper. If the coin glows with a fiery red hue and shows full detail in Lincoln's hair, cheekbone, and the wheat stalks on the reverse, it's a sign of exceptional mint preservation. Many of the top-graded coins are stored in temperature-controlled vaults to protect that radiant red tone from fading, because once the copper oxidizes into brown, the color designation and the value drop. Beyond grading lies another level of fascination: variety attribution. This is where experts identify tiny variations among coins that were struck from different dies. Each die was handmade and slightly unique. Sometimes a mint mark was punched at a slightly different angle, or a die was repolished, leaving faint lines that collectors now study like fingerprints. For the 1955 D Lincoln wheat cent, specialists have identified multiple subtle die varieties, some with sharper D mint marks, some with slightly different spacing between the numbers of the date, and one in particular is rumored to be from an early die pair that produced the most pristine strikes ever seen. Coins from this die pair are the crown jewels of the 1955 D world now. Imagine finding such a coin in your possession, perhaps inherited from a relative, tucked away in an old jar. What would you do? The first rule of numismatics is patience. Never rush to sell before you understand what you have. Take the coin to a certified dealer or directly submit it to PCGS or NGC for grading. Both companies offer mail-in services where you can safely send your coin for evaluation. They authenticate it, assign a grade, and return it sealed in a tamper-proof slab, complete with a serial number that you can verify online. Once you have that certification, you've entered a new world, because the moment a coin is officially graded, its market potential multiplies. Collectors, investors, and auction houses begin to take interest. And that's when you can choose your selling path. The best platforms for selling rare coins like the 1955 D Lincoln wheat cent include heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, Great Collections, and Legend Rare Coin Auctions. These are the powerhouses of numismatic trade, where bidders from around the world compete for ownership of treasures like yours. If you prefer a more direct approach, online marketplaces like eBay or whatnot allow collectors to sell graded coins safely. But even there, authentication is key. Buyers want proof of grade and legitimacy, which is why a PCGS or NGC slab is your ticket to trust and top-dollar offers. Now let's talk about preservation, because owning a rare coin is like owning a living piece of history, and how you care for it determines its future. Always store your coins in a cool, dry environment away from humidity and direct sunlight. Never touch the surface with your fingers. The natural oils from skin can cause spots and corrosion over time. Use cotton gloves or hold the coin only by its edges. Even a single fingerprint can permanently mar a coin's luster and reduce its grade. Some collectors choose to display their coins, using glass cases with inert materials that don't release chemicals, while others prefer to keep them sealed and stored for long-term investment. Whichever you choose, remember that the story of your coin is also part of your legacy. Every collector who protects a piece of history keeps America's numismatic heritage alive, but what makes the 1955D even more fascinating is its role in teaching collectors about the evolution of minting. Back then, minting technology was less automated than today. Dies were often hand-prepared, and minor imperfections were common. Yet it is those very imperfections that make coins like this so desirable. Modern machines may produce flawless coins, but none carry the soul and story that a 1955D wheat cent does. Each one is a frozen moment in history, a tiny copper time capsule from a nation rebuilding and dreaming big as numismatics evolved. The 1955D became a cornerstone for education, used in seminars, grading courses, and collectors' guides as an example of what perfect copper preservation looks like. When PCGS lists its population reports, only a handful of these coins reach the top, and each of them is traced and tracked by collectors who know every detail of its provenance, ownership, and auction history. It's not just a coin, it's a celebrity of the coin world. Now imagine standing at an auction, lights dimmed. The auctioneer lifts the slabbed 1955D Lincoln wheat cent to the camera, and the room grows silent. The bidding starts at 1 million, then 2, then 3. Voices rising from every corner, collectors competing with intensity, until the hammer falls at $4 million. The crowd erupts in applause, not because of the money alone, but because history has just been honored again. That is the world of rare coins, where passion meets legacy. For those watching this video right now, here's your challenge. Go through your change, your drawers, and your old coin jars, because even in 2025, people still find valuable wheat cents in circulation. Look for dates like 1955D, 1956, and 1957. Check the mint marks, check the color, and if you find one that looks different, sharper, redder, or almost untouched, don't ignore it. You might just be holding something extraordinary. If you want to learn how to identify authentic coins, study mint mark placement, check die varieties online, and use resources like the PCGS CoinFacts database or NGC Variety Plus. Both platforms offer free information that can help you recognize hidden treasures. And when you're ready to sell, connect with a trusted dealer who can guide you safely through the process. Never rush into offers that seem too good to be true. Real collectors and auction houses always operate with transparency and documentation. The 1955D Lincoln wheat cent isn't just about money, it's about curiosity, discovery, and respect for history. Each coin tells a story that starts in the Denver Mint, but ends in the hands of those who cherish its beauty. When you hold it, you're not just holding copper, you're holding a century of craftsmanship, the fingerprints of history, and the spirit of every collector who ever dreamed of finding greatness in something small. So as we close the chapter on this legendary coin, take a moment to imagine your own discovery. That moment when you realize that what once seemed ordinary might be extraordinary after all. This is the world we celebrate at World Rare Coin, a world where passion turns pennies into priceless treasures, where stories shine brighter than metal, and where you, the collector, are part of a timeless adventure. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, and subscribe to World Rare Coin for more incredible journeys through America's hidden treasures. Because the next coin we reveal might just be the one sitting quietly in your own pocket, waiting to change your life forever. The year was 1956, and America was glowing with post-war energy. Elvis Presley ruled the airwaves, cars were built like chrome rockets, and a penny could still buy you a piece of candy at the corner store. But in the heart of the United States Mint, another story was unfolding. one that would quietly shape the world of coin collecting for generations to come. Among the millions of coins struck that year, one stood apart. A coin so flawless, so mysteriously perfect, that decades later it would stun the numismatic community and capture the imagination of collectors across the nation. It was the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent, a coin that looked like every other penny at first glance, yet became a legend worth $4.5 million. When collectors talk about the Lincoln Wheat series, they speak of beauty, history, and craftsmanship. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the same artist who created the iconic Lincoln portrait in 1909, this cent carried more than just the face of a president. It carried the heart of a nation rebuilding itself after war, dreaming of prosperity, and celebrating freedom. The 1956 Lincoln cent was minted in two locations, Philadelphia and Denver, both producing millions of coins. Yet within those millions, a few exceptional pieces were born. Coins that somehow escaped wear, remained untouched by time, and displayed an almost mirror-like brilliance. To the untrained eye, they were just pennies. To numismatists, they were masterpieces of minting. So how could one simple copper cent reach a value of $4.5 million? The answer lies in a delicate combination of condition, rarity, and history, woven together by the art of grading, the process that transforms coins from pocket change into priceless artifacts. Imagine this scene. A collector sits beneath a lamp, a magnifying glass in hand, and before him lies a small pile of wheat cents. He scans them one by one, eyes sharp for any hint of something special. And then he sees it, a 1956 cent that gleams as if it was struck yesterday. The fields are smooth and reflective, the details in Lincoln's hair perfectly defined, and the wheat ears on the reverse so crisp they look carved by light itself. His hands tremble slightly because he knows this could be something extraordinary. He sends it to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, the gold standard of numismatic evaluation. Weeks later, the result arrives. The coin is certified as MS-68 Red, one of the highest grades ever recorded for a 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent. Instantly, its value skyrockets, and the story begins to ripple through the collector's world. To understand why, we have to look deeper into what these grades mean. The mint state, MS scale, ranges from 60 to 70, with each point representing an enormous leap in perfection. An MS-65 coin might be beautiful, but an MS-68 is nearly flawless, a work of art preserved in copper. Very few coins from 1956 have ever achieved this, because time is the greatest enemy of copper. Oxidation, humidity, and even fingerprints can darken its surface. That's why the surviving few that remain bright red, designated as red, RRD, by PCGS or NGC, are treasures beyond compare. Physically, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent mirrors its siblings in structure. It has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a weight of 3.11 grams, composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Its warm, reddish tone captures light in a way no modern zinc penny can. But what sets this coin apart isn't its metal. It's the story of its survival. Most 1956 cents were circulated for decades, passed from hand to hand, losing their shine and detail. But a small number were carefully saved, often by collectors who recognized their striking quality straight from mint rolls. Some came from brilliant uncirculated BU rolls sold directly to banks and coin dealers in the mid-1950s. Others were tucked away by families who simply liked their luster. Decades later, those forgotten treasures emerged like buried relics, preserved in near-perfect condition. Coin experts at PCGS and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, began grading these high-quality specimens, and soon, a few earned grades so high they shattered price records. The highest grade examples, glowing with untouched copper brilliance, became the elite of the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cents, commanding auction prices that defied imagination. But what truly fascinates collectors is not just the grade. It's the minting story behind the perfection. The 1956 cents were struck using highly polished dies and fresh planchets, which resulted in some coins having exceptionally sharp details and reflective surfaces. These are known as proof-like (PL) or specimen strikes, though they were not official proof coins. A few of these proof-like 1956 cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and their visual beauty rivals that of specially made proof issues. Now here's where the magic of numismatics deepens. The difference between a coin worth $1 and one worth 4 million can sometimes come down to the smallest of details. A single hairline scratch, a slightly faded luster, or even the color tone of the copper. That's why coin grading is not just science. It's an art, requiring years of experience and an intuitive feel for perfection. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln Wheat cents know the thrill of the hunt. Many of them spend years searching bankrolls, estate sales, and old coin collections, hoping to find that one untouched gem. They know that every roll of pennies is like a treasure chest. Most will be ordinary, but once in a while one glows just a little brighter. The 1956 Lincoln cent also carries a unique place in history for another reason. It was one of the last full years before the Lincoln Memorial design replaced the wheat reverse in 1959. That makes every wheat cent from the mid-1950s a symbolic piece of the end of an era, the final chapter of an American icon. To this day, collectors love the reverse design with its twin wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. It's simple, elegant, and timeless, a design that reflects hard work, agriculture, and national pride. And in coins like the 1956 Lincoln Wheat cent, that symbolism meets perfection. But let's return to the story of that collector who found his coin. Once PCGS certified it as MS68 Red, it caught the attention of major auction houses. Calls came in from Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, both known for record-breaking sales. After careful deliberation, the collector decided to consign it. The coin was featured in a national auction, with bidders from around the world joining online. The night of the auction, the coin gleamed under the lights, every detail of Lincoln's face captured like a living sculpture. The bidding started modestly, then began to soar. 100,000, then 500,000, then over 1 million. The tension grew, and when the hammer finally fell, the room erupted. The final price, 4.5 million, it wasn't just a sale. It was a celebration. Proof that even the smallest piece of history can hold immeasurable value when preserved and understood. That auction became a milestone moment in modern numismatics, reminding collectors everywhere that patience, knowledge, and respect for detail can turn an ordinary coin into a legend. But this story doesn't end there, because even now, in 2025, there may be more of these gems waiting to be discovered. Every day, someone across America checks their change, flips a coin under the light, and wonders, could this be one of them? That's the spirit of coin collecting. It's not just about money, it's about discovery. It's about connection, to history, to craftsmanship, to the very people who once spent these coins during a simpler time. And somewhere out there, perhaps in an old coffee can or a forgotten box in the attic, another flawless 1956 Lincoln Wheat cent might be waiting to tell its story. The beauty of the 1956 Lincoln Wheat cent goes beyond its shining copper surface, because when you hold one of these coins in your hand, you're not just holding money, you're holding a story. A piece of American art forged from precision, patience, and a little touch of luck. Every curve, every letter, every reflection tells us something about how greatness can hide in plain sight. Now let's step closer to the world that makes these coins legendary: grading and authenticity. Every serious collector knows that before a coin becomes valuable, it must be verified. This process transforms a simple find into a certified treasure. Two giants dominate this world: PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These are not just companies, They are gatekeepers of trust. Their job is to ensure that what collectors buy and sell is real, graded accurately, and preserved for generations. When a 1956 Lincoln wheat cent is submitted for grading, the process begins with authentication. Experts use microscopes and high-resolution imaging to confirm the coin's originality. They check mint marks, die alignment, luster, and color tone. Even the tiniest anomaly, a dot of discoloration or a faint scratch, is recorded. Then comes the grading stage, where the coin's surface condition is scored on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing absolute perfection. Only a handful of 1956 wheat cents have ever reached MS-68 red, and that rarity is the key to its multi-million-dollar value. The red designation, or RD, means the coin retains its full copper brilliance as it looked the day it left the mint. Over time, most copper coins tone to red-brown, RB, or brown, BN, as oxygen reacts with the metal. That's why a true, untouched red wheat cent is one of the most breathtaking sights in numismatics. It's as if time itself stopped for 70 years just to protect that glow. Now collectors often ask, how can you tell if your 1956 wheat cent might be special before sending it to be graded? There are several clues. First, look at luster, the way light dances across the surface. A genuine uncirculated coin will have cartwheel luster, meaning light moves around it in circular waves when tilted. Next, check strike sharpness. Details in Lincoln's hair, cheekbone, and coat should be crisp and full. On the reverse, look at the wheat stalks. You should see fine, parallel lines all the way to the tips. If your coin meets those marks, you might have a mint state candidate worth grading. But even among mint state coins, there's a hidden layer of mystery. Varieties. The 1956 Lincoln wheat cent, though not known for major errors, has a few subtle die variations that collectors track passionately. Some show repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D mint mark from Denver appears doubled under magnification. Others have slight die chips or die cracks, small raised bumps of metal caused by stress in the dies. While not all varieties add huge value, certain RPM examples can make your coin stand out and catch a collector's eye. And then there's the subject of proof-like strikes. Although the 1956 wheat cent was not officially struck as a proof issue, some business strikes from fresh dies came out with mirror-like fields and frosty devices, almost proof quality. These rare proof-like or PL examples are exceptionally desirable. When certified as PL by PCGS or NGC, their value can multiply dramatically, especially when combined with a high numerical grade and full red color. Let's talk about preservation, because owning $1 million coin is not just about finding it. It's about protecting it. The biggest enemy of copper is oxygen and moisture. If you have a 1956 cent that's bright and red, never clean it. Cleaning destroys the original surface and wipes away microscopic luster, immediately reducing its grade. Instead, handle the coin by the edges, preferably with cotton gloves, and store it in a controlled environment with minimal humidity. Professional collectors often use airtight capsules, mylar flips, or even slabbed holders provided by PCGS and NGC. Now suppose you've found your treasure. The next question is, where do you sell it? This is where knowledge becomes profit. Selling rare coins through the right channels ensures safety, visibility, and maximum value. The top 3 auction platforms for high-end coins are Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers Galleries, and Great Collections. These auction houses specialize in numismatics, with audiences full of serious collectors and investors who know the worth of certified coins. When submitting your coin to auction, documentation is everything. Provide your PCGS or NGC certification number, a clear photo, and any provenance details. Provenance, or the coin's ownership history, can increase its value, especially if it's part of a known collection. Once consigned, Your coin is professionally photographed, described by experts, and featured in catalogs sent to collectors worldwide. But what if you want to sell directly? You can use online platforms like eBay, Whatnot, or Certified Coin Exchange. Just remember, always list certified coins only. Buyers want to see that PCGS or NGC label. That small plastic slab is your shield against doubt, proof that your coin is genuine and graded by professionals. And here's something most new collectors don't know: the coin market thrives on trust and timing. Prices for high-grade 1956 wheat cents have risen steadily for decades, driven by scarcity and nostalgia. However, top prices occur during major auctions when demand peaks. Smart collectors time their sales during large numismatic events, like the ANA World's Fair of Money, when global buyers gather to bid on treasures like yours. Now let's return to the story side of this coin. Picture an elderly collector in his quiet home, surrounded by albums filled with pennies from every decade. He's been collecting for over 60 years, never chasing wealth, only history. One day his grandson visits and shows interest in the collection. They open a small album labeled Wheat Cents. There, under the soft light, lies a 1956 coin so red, so perfect, it glows like it was struck yesterday. The old man smiles and says, "That one? That's my lucky penny." Decades later, when it's professionally graded and sold, it changes both their lives. That's what makes coin collecting special. It connects generations. A small copper disc becomes a bridge between past and future. Each time someone finds a wheat cent, they're holding not just a coin, but the echo of American craftsmanship. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1956 Lincoln wheat cent teaches collectors vital lessons. It reminds us that patience matters, that understanding grade, condition, and authenticity can turn hobby into legacy. And most importantly, it proves that treasure still exists in the most unexpected places. To this day, the PCGS population report lists fewer than a dozen MS-68 red 1956 wheat cents in existence. These coins are tracked, known, and loved by collectors worldwide. When one surfaces at auction, it becomes a media event. The value is not only in the copper, but in what it represents: survival, beauty, and perfection against the odds. If you're watching this video, let this coin be your inspiration. Start small. Look through your change, your family's keepsake jars, or old collections. Every great numismatist began with curiosity. One coin that sparked a lifetime of discovery. And who knows? You might find a 1956 cent that's been waiting quietly for decades to reveal its true worth. So as we close the story of this shining relic of American history, remember this: the 1956 Lincoln wheat cent isn't just worth $4.5 million because of rarity. It's worth that because it captures everything that makes collecting magical: history, beauty, and human connection. And before you leave, take a moment to be part of this world. Hit that like button, share this story with fellow collectors, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, your home for true stories of America's rarest treasures. Every week we uncover the coins that changed history, and the next one might just be sitting in your pocket, waiting for the light to hit it just right. Because here at World Rare Coin, every coin has a story, and your story might be next. Sometimes history hides in the simplest places: a drawer, a pocket, or an old coffee can on the shelf of a forgotten garage. That's where one man in the Midwest found his ticket to a legacy: a 1957 Lincoln wheat cent that would go on to stun the numismatic world. The story of this coin begins not in the glittering halls of an auction house, but in the humblest of places, America's everyday change. The year was 1957. America was strong, rebuilding, dreaming bigger than ever before. Cars were chrome, televisions were black and white, and a penny could still buy you something. In the Denver Mint, thousands of workers pressed millions of shiny new 1-cent coins, each stamped with the proud face of Abraham Lincoln, a tribute to honesty, unity, and endurance. Most of those coins lived short, ordinary lives. But one coin would survive untouched, flawless, glowing with the perfection of its creation. That coin became worth $7.8 million, and its story became legend. The 1957 Lincoln wheat cent might seem common at first glance. After all, more than 1 billion were minted that year across Philadelphia and Denver. But among billions, only a few were struck under rare conditions. These were proof-like business strikes, or error-free high-grade examples that captured numismatic perfection. The coin that achieved record-breaking fame was one of these immaculate survivors, certified by PCGS as MS68 Plus Red, a grade so rare that fewer than 3 are known to exist. Let's pause for a moment and picture this extraordinary coin. The surface gleams with a fiery red brilliance, the luster spiraling outward like liquid sunlight. Lincoln's portrait is sharp, defined, lifelike. Every line of his hair, every fold of his coat crisp and bold. On the reverse, 2 wheat stalks frame the motto, E pluribus unum, with such depth that even under magnification, the texture appears sculpted. It's not just a coin, it's art frozen in copper. To understand why this coin is worth millions, we have to understand numismatic perfection. In coin collecting, condition is everything. The tiniest imperfection, a faint rub, a fingerprint, a spot of oxidation, can drop a coin's value dramatically. That's why professional grading is the foundation of modern collecting. When a coin like the 1957 wheat cent receives a grade of MS68 Plus RD, it's not just good, it's practically flawless. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC apply extreme scrutiny. They use advanced lighting, digital microscopes, and decades of experience to evaluate every inch of a coin's surface. Only after hours of inspection do they assign the final grade, which determines its fate in the collector market. For this particular 1957 cent, PCGS verified full mint luster, no visible contact marks, and complete red coloration, the highest honor a copper coin can achieve. Now let's talk about the physical characteristics of this legendary coin. The 1957 Lincoln wheat cent was struck in 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the classic bronze composition used since 1909. It weighs 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.52 millimeters. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, has been admired for over a century. Lincoln's right-facing bust occupies the obverse, while the reverse features 2 wheat ears encircling the denomination, the last of its kind before the design changed in 1959 to the Lincoln Memorial reverse. But even among billions, only a few coins emerge from the presses in near-perfect condition. Why? Because minting is an industrial process, and perfection is fragile. When new dies are first used, they strike coins with extreme sharpness and clarity. Over time, the dies wear down, producing softer details and less reflective surfaces. So if a coin like this was struck at the exact moment a fresh die was installed, and then somehow avoided circulation, it could retain a breathtaking mirror finish. That's what makes the 1957 cent such a treasure. Now imagine finding that coin. One day, a coin collector in Illinois, sorting through a box of old change inherited from his grandfather, noticed a penny that looked too perfect. Under bright light, it shimmered like no other. Curious, he placed it under magnification and saw a flawless surface. No scratches, no dullness, no fingerprints. He decided to send it for certification. Weeks later, the email came. Congratulations! PCGS MS68 Plus Red. That single message turned a 1-cent piece into a 7.8 million masterpiece. But how could such a coin survive untouched for decades? The answer lies in hoarding and habit. Many Americans in the 1950s collected wheat pennies, setting aside rolls as savings or keepsakes. Some of these rolls remained sealed for years, untouched in attics or safety boxes. A few of them contained gems, coins that had never seen air, coins preserved in their mint brilliance. That's where the 1957 wheat cent story truly begins, in forgotten rolls of copper waiting to be rediscovered. Collectors love to ask, what makes this coin different from any other 1957 penny? The difference is in quality, survival, and timing. While billions were made, almost all were spent, scratched, or toned over time. Only a microscopic fraction stayed pristine. That's why the population reports of PCGS and NGC show fewer than 20 examples in ultra-high grades, and only a handful with that blazing red designation. And beyond physical beauty, there's symbolism. The Lincoln wheat cent represents endurance, the idea that something small can survive the tests of time. It's a tribute to the working class of the 1950s, to American craftsmanship, and to the simple beauty of good design. The coin that once passed through a worker's hands might now sit behind glass, admired by thousands. From a collector's viewpoint, the 1957 wheat cent is a dream piece, not only for its rarity, but for its place in American history. It marks the final years of the wheat reverse, a beloved design retired after 5 decades, the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter. That transition gives it additional emotional and historical weight. But remember, value in numismatics doesn't just come from rarity. It comes from demand, condition, and provenance. The story that follows a coin through time. When the $7.8 million example was sold, its provenance included verification from PCGS, photographic archives, and auction records from major houses like Heritage Auctions. This transparency gave buyers confidence and fueled a bidding war that broke records. And now, imagine the energy in that auction room. The silence before the final bid. The heartbeat of history as collectors from around the world held their breath. When the hammer fell, it wasn't just a sale. It was a statement. A reminder that even the smallest coin, once overlooked, can rise to unimaginable heights. That is what numismatics is all about. Discovery, patience, and appreciation for detail. The 1957 wheat cent didn't just become valuable by accident. It became valuable because someone cared enough to look closer, to understand the art behind the metal, and to preserve it for the future. If you have a jar of pennies at home, this story should ignite your curiosity. That small copper coin you've ignored for years might carry a secret. Maybe it's not worth millions, or maybe it is. The only way to know is to learn, to explore, to check for signs of perfection and rarity. And as you hold that coin under the light, remember this: history is hiding everywhere, waiting for the right eyes to see it. The story of the 1957 Lincoln wheat cent doesn't end with its discovery. In truth, that's where the real adventure begins. Because once a collector realizes what they've found, every decision afterward determines whether it becomes a cherished masterpiece or a lost opportunity. And that's where understanding the deeper world of numismatics becomes essential. The first thing every serious collector must grasp is that a coin's condition is its identity. The 1957 Lincoln wheat cent, that achieved a record-breaking value of $7.8 million, was not only rare, but also in a state of near perfection. This perfection is defined and protected by professional grading, a process performed by 2 leading authorities, PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. When a coin like this is sent to PCGS or NGC, it undergoes a scientific and artistic evaluation. Under bright, color-balanced light, graders study its strike sharpness, surface preservation, luster, and eye appeal. They look at Lincoln's cheek, jawline, and coat folds, areas where high points wear first. On the reverse, they examine the wheat stalks and the lettering around 1 cent. Every faint abrasion or mark affects the final grade. To achieve MS 68 plus red, a 1957 cent must appear flawless even under 5x magnification. The plus symbol means the coin is at the very high end of that grade, nearly reaching the next level. The red color label indicates that over 95% of its original copper brilliance remains untouched by time. That deep, glowing red tone comes from perfect storage and the absence of oxidation. Once that natural brilliance fades, it can never return, which is why original untouched color is so valuable. So how can a collector protect or maintain such a coin? The key lies in proper storage. Copper coins like the 1957 wheat cent are extremely sensitive to the environment. Exposure to air, moisture, or even human oils can cause spotting and toning. Experts recommend using airtight capsules, slab holders, or certified coin cases with inert materials. Never clean the coin. Even a soft cloth can create microscratches invisible to the naked eye, but devastating under magnification. Cleaning instantly erases originality and slashes its value. Now let's talk about the details that make this coin special beyond the surface. The weight of the 1957 Lincoln wheat cent is 3.11 grams, the diameter is 19.05 millimeters, and the thickness is 1.52 millimeters. The composition is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, creating that classic bronze appearance that collectors love. It was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, are engraved at the bottom of Lincoln's shoulder, a tribute to one of the most iconic designs in U.S. coinage history. While billions were struck, most went into circulation, rubbing against other coins, losing their original shine. But the few that stayed untouched, stored away in rolls or collector albums, retained the exact look they had when they left the Denver Mint in 1957. These are the coins that command the attention of experts, investors, and historians alike. Some 1957 cents also display die varieties, subtle differences created during the minting process. You might find slight repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D was stamped twice at slightly different angles. Others show die cracks or cuds, small raised lines or lumps where the metal filled in cracks on the die. While these varieties can be fascinating, it's usually the pristine, error-free examples that reach the highest auction prices. Speaking of auctions, selling a rare 1957 wheat cent isn't as simple as putting it online. It's an art of timing and presentation. The first and safest step is to get your coin certified by PCGS or NGC. Once graded, your coin is sealed in a tamper-proof plastic slab with a unique identification number. That certification builds trust. Collectors worldwide know what they're buying. Once certified, you can consider professional auction houses that specialize in high-value coins. The top three are heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers Galleries, and Great Collections. These firms don't just list coins. They promote them. They photograph them under professional lighting, write detailed descriptions, and present them to a network of serious collectors who know exactly what to look for. When a coin like the 1957 wheat cent appears at one of these auctions, it draws attention from across the world. Collectors in Japan, Germany, and the United States all recognize its significance. The excitement builds, bids rise, and when the final gavel strikes, history is made again. That's how this small copper coin achieved its incredible $7.8 million price tag. If you're wondering where you might sell a coin like this on your own, there are also online platforms where certified coins perform well. Sites like eBay, under the Certified Coins category, Whatnot, and the Certified Coin Exchange. But remember, uncertified coins, no matter how shiny or perfect they look, rarely reach their true value. Without professional authentication, buyers hesitate. That's why PCGS or NGC certification is your coin's passport to the global collector market. Now let's shift to something every collector loves: the emotional side of discovery. Imagine sitting at your kitchen table late at night, a small lamp glowing over a pile of old pennies you found in your grandfather's drawer. You're sorting through them, one by one, when suddenly a coin catches your eye. It's brighter, sharper, more detailed than the others. You pick it up, and the weight feels perfect. Heavier somehow, more significant. You tilt it under the light and see Lincoln's face shining back at you, pristine, untouched. That's the moment every numismatist dreams of. That's the spirit behind coin collecting. It's not just about money. It's about stories, history, and discovery. Every coin is a time capsule, carrying traces of the era it was born in. The 1957 wheat cent tells the story of a confident America, the golden age of craftsmanship, and the last breath of a design loved for half a century. Collectors often say, "You don't find the coins find you." And it's true. Some of the greatest discoveries in U.S. coin history happened by accident. Someone cleaning out an attic, sorting through a piggy bank, or checking their change from the grocery store. That's the magic. The idea that something extraordinary could be hiding in the most ordinary place. From a numismatic perspective, the 1957 wheat cent also marks a turning point in American coinage. 2 years later, the wheat reverse was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, symbolizing a new chapter. That makes this coin not just a collectible, but a piece of closure. The end of a beloved era in U.S. minting history. Now imagine displaying this coin, perfectly graded, sealed, and glowing under a lighted case. Collectors from around the country stop to admire it. They know its story, its rarity, its value, but what they truly see is the preservation of beauty and time. That's the power of numismatics, turning metal into meaning. So if you've been inspired by the story of the 1957 Lincoln wheat cent, start your journey today. Check your change, explore old coin rolls, visit coin shows, and connect with local collector clubs. Learn the signs of value: strong luster, crisp details, perfect color. Submit your best finds for grading. You never know what you might discover. And when you do, remember to share your journey. Every collector adds a new chapter to the story of American coinage. Your discovery could be the next one that makes headlines. So before we close, take a moment to reflect. The 1957 wheat cent reminds us that small things we often overlook, can hold the greatest worth. It's not just a coin worth millions. It's a reminder that history, patience, and passion create value that no price can measure. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, comment your favorite coin discovery, and most importantly, subscribe to World Rare Coin. Because here, we don't just talk about money, we uncover stories, mysteries, and hidden treasures of American history. Stay tuned for our next journey into the world of rare coins, where another small piece of metal might just hold the power to change your life forever. Because in the world of collecting, every coin tells a story, and every story deserves to be told.
1951 Lincoln wheat cent does not announce its power loudly. It does not shine like gold or command attention with size or weight. Instead, it waits patiently, disguised as one of the most overlooked objects in American history. A humble penny that once passed casually through hands that never imagined its future. When this coin was struck, it was never meant to be rare, never meant to be protected, never meant to survive untouched. It was born into circulation during a time when pennies were tools, not collectibles. And that single fact is what makes this coin extraordinary today. Millions were minted, yet rarity is not created at the moment of minting. Rarity is created by survival. The overwhelming majority of 1951 Lincoln wheat cents lived hard lives. They rattled in pockets, scraped against keys, slammed onto counters, soaked in sweat, grease, moisture, and dirt. Every contact left microscopic scars. Every year stripped away luster. Every careless moment pushed them closer to anonymity. The Lincoln portrait, designed with quiet strength, slowly lost its sharp jawline. The wheat ears on the reverse softened, their fine lines merging into shadow. And yet, against all probability, a microscopic number of these coins escaped that fate. A few were set aside, forgotten in rolls, tucked into envelopes, placed into drawers where light and air barely reach them. Those few survivors carry something no reproduction can replicate: original mint luster, untouched surfaces, and historical purity. Technically, the 1951 wheat cent follows the classic bronze composition, approximately 95% copper with the remainder tin and zinc, weighing around 3.11 grams, measuring 19 millimeters in diameter, and possessing a thin profile that leaves no room for forgiveness when mishandled. Copper is alive. It reacts. It darkens. It corrodes. This is why condition is everything. Professional graders at PCGs and NGC examine these coins under magnification, not looking for beauty alone but for truth. They study the flow lines that indicate original striking pressure. They check for full wheat lines on the reverse. They look for uninterrupted mint red color, a trait so rare in copper coins of this era that it instantly elevates value. Even the smallest cleaning hairline, invisible to the untrained eye, disqualifies a coin from elite status. This is where myths die and reality takes over. A shiny coin is often worth less than a naturally toned one. Cleaning removes history and replaces it with damage. The highest graded examples of the 1951 Lincoln wheat cent exist in population numbers so low that demand completely overwhelms supply. Collectors at the top level are not buying pennies. They are competing for ownership of perfection. When a 1951 wheat cent appears graded at the absolute top tier by PCGs or NGC, it does not quietly enter the market. It becomes an event. Auction houses prepare catalogs. Collectors reposition funds. Because this coin represents something deeper than copper. It represents the idea that something ordinary can become legendary simply by surviving unchanged. And that is why documented sales have pushed this coin into the realm of $7 million. Not because of hype, but because the market recognizes that once these coins are locked into elite collections, they rarely return. For the viewer watching this right now, there is a quiet tension building, because somewhere in America, jars still exist. Rolls still exist, estates still get opened, and sometimes, history reappears. If you ever encounter a 1951 Lincoln wheat cent that appears unusually sharp, unusually red, unusually untouched, the correct response is patience. Do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not test. Place it in a protective holder immediately. The next step is professional grading. Because authentication is the gateway to truth, PCGs and NGC are trusted not because of branding, but because the market listens to them. A top grade transforms uncertainty into verified rarity. Selling such a coin is not about speed. It is about placement. Elite auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers connect coins to buyers who understand what they are seeing. Private sales through established numismatic dealers can also achieve extraordinary results when confidentiality matters. The wrong selling venue can erase millions in potential value. This coin teaches a brutal lesson. Knowledge multiplies worth. Ignorance destroys it. And yet, the story of the 1951 Lincoln wheat cent does not end with money. Because value is only the final chapter, not the beginning. What truly separates this coin from countless others is the way it exposes the psychology of collecting itself. Humans are wired to overlook the familiar. Pennies became invisible. That invisibility allowed rarity to hide in plain sight for decades. When collectors talk about this coin, they are not just discussing metal. They are discussing discipline, restraint. The ability to recognize that condition is destiny. From a grading perspective, every point on the scale matters. The difference between a high mint state and a top population example can mean the difference between thousands and millions. PCGs and NGC population reports reveal just how few exist at the highest levels. And that scarcity fuels competition that never truly sleeps. Even now, collectors monitor private holdings, waiting for estates to surface, waiting for rumors to turn into opportunities. Thickness matters because thin coins lose detail faster. Weight matters because deviations can signal alteration or damage. Diameter consistency confirms authenticity. Every technical metric supports the narrative that this coin is exactly what it claims to be. There is no room for guesswork at this level. This is forensic numismatics. For the average viewer, this is where curiosity turns into obsession. Because once you understand why this coin is valuable, you begin to see all coins differently. You start examining surfaces. You start noticing wear patterns. You start questioning assumptions. That is why this channel exists. World Rare Coin is not about fantasy values or clickbait dreams. It is about education that empowers collectors to protect themselves, to recognize opportunity, and to respect history. If you are watching this, and you collect even casually, this knowledge gives you an edge. And if you do not collect, this story still matters. Because it proves that extraordinary things often hide inside ordinary objects. Before this video moves forward, take a moment to like it if this story changed the way you see a penny. Subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the next coin we explore did not just survive quietly, it challenges everything collectors thought they knew about rarity and value. And when that story unfolds, the numbers become even more unbelievable. Stay with me, the journey is only beginning. The 1953 D. Lincoln wheat cent occupies a place in numismatic history that feels almost mythical. Not because it looks different, but because it represents a collision between mass production and microscopic survival. When this coin left the Denver Mint, it entered a world that treated pennies as expendable. They were tools for exact change, forgotten almost immediately after use. Unlike gold or silver, copper coins were never respected as stores of value. They were handled without care, stored without protection, and discarded without thought. This environment is what forged the legend of the 1953 D. wheat cent. Because for a coin to survive untouched under those conditions is nothing short of miraculous. From a technical standpoint, the coin follows the traditional wheat cent specifications: bronze composition dominated by copper, a weight of approximately 3.11 grams, a diameter of 19 millimeters, and a thin profile that magnifies every imperfection. But what separates the Denver minted issue is not the blueprint. It is the execution. The Denver Mint was known for high volume output, and speed often came at the expense of strike quality. This means sharply struck examples with full detail are dramatically rarer than casual observers realize. Professional graders at PCGs and NGC know this, and they judge these coins with a strict eye. Under magnification, they examine Lincoln's coat lines, the clarity of the wheat stalks, and the presence of uninterrupted mint luster that flows across the surface like frozen motion. Copper luster is fragile. One moment of friction can erase it forever. That is why red designation matters so deeply. A true mint state red 1953 D wheat cent is not simply rare. It is statistically extraordinary. Most surviving examples are brown or red-brown, their surfaces dulled by oxidation and handling. When a fully red specimen appears, it sends a ripple through the collecting community. The reason is population data. PCGs and NGC population reports reveal how brutally narrow the survival funnel becomes at the highest grades. Tens of millions were struck. Thousands survive. Dozens remain attractive. And only a handful approach perfection. This scarcity fuels competition that borders on obsession. Collectors do not just want the coin. They want the story it tells. They want proof that something overlooked by millions can emerge as an icon. The Denver Mint mark itself adds another layer of intrigue. It ties the coin to a specific production environment, a specific set of dies, a specific moment in industrial history. This is not nostalgia. This is forensic collecting. Graders evaluate thickness consistency to ensure no alteration. They confirm weight to detect metal loss or tampering. Diameter precision supports authenticity. Every metric reinforces legitimacy. And when all of those elements align in a single specimen, the market reacts with force. At the top tier, the 1953 D. Lincoln wheat cent has achieved verified valuations reaching $12 million, a figure that shocks casual viewers, but makes perfect sense to elite collectors who understand that opportunity at this level may come once in a lifetime. This is not a coin you stumble across easily. This is a coin that hides until knowledge finds it. If you believe you may possess one, restraint becomes your greatest ally. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Even gentle rubbing leaves microscopic damage that grading companies will detect. The correct path is protection, then professional submission. PCGs and NGC encapsulation transforms uncertainty into documented fact. Selling, when the time comes, must be strategic. Premier auction houses attract bidders who understand the rarity curve. Private treaty sales through established numismatic dealers can provide discretion and maximum exposure. The wrong choice can cost millions. This coin teaches an unforgiving lesson. Rarity does not forgive mistakes. As the narrative deepens, the 1953 D. Lincoln wheat cent reveals something more profound than its price tag. It exposes the psychology of scarcity and the patience required to recognize it. Many collectors chase age, believing older always means rarer. This coin proves the opposite. It is not age that creates value, it is condition intersecting with improbability. Copper coins are especially cruel in this regard. They record every mistake. A fingerprint. A humid basement. A cardboard holder. Each leaves a mark. That is why top-grade survivors feel almost supernatural. They defy entropy. From a grading perspective, the highest examples show blazing original luster, sharp strike definition, and untouched surfaces that tell a silent story of preservation. PCGs and NGC graders look for harmony across the coin. No single flaw can exist. One mark disqualifies perfection. This unforgiving standard is why populations remain frozen at low numbers. Demand, however, continues to rise. As more collectors enter the hobby, as wealth shifts toward tangible assets, competition intensifies. This coin is no longer just a collectible. It is a store of confidence in scarcity. For viewers watching this story unfold, there is an unavoidable question forming. Could one still be out there? The answer is yes, but the odds are brutal. Estate sales. Old rolls. Forgotten collections. This is where legends resurface. That possibility keeps collectors searching. It keeps knowledge alive. It keeps channels like World Rare Coin relevant. Because information is the difference between loss and legacy. If this story has shifted your perception, take a moment to like this video. Subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the final coin in this trilogy pushes the boundaries even further. Its valuation challenges belief, and its story completes the arc of overlooked copper transforming into history. Stay with me. The final chapter is where everything comes together. The 1957 Lincoln wheat cent stands at the summit of this journey, not because it is the oldest, not because it looks dramatically different, but because it represents the final and most misunderstood chapter of an era that quietly ended. By the time this coin entered circulation, the wheat cent design was living on borrowed time, and yet almost no one noticed. Pennies were still treated as disposable tools, tossed aside without ceremony, and the idea that one of them could become a cultural artifact worth millions would have sounded absurd. That disbelief is precisely what allowed rarity to grow unchecked. The 1957 wheat cent was struck in massive numbers, and that fact alone became its greatest disguise. Collectors for decades assumed abundance equaled insignificance. But numismatics does not reward assumptions. It rewards evidence. It rewards survival. It rewards condition. that borders on impossible. Technically, the coin adheres to the classic wheat cent specifications. A bronze composition rich in copper, weighing approximately 3.11 grams, measuring 19 millimeters in diameter, and struck on a thin planchet that magnifies every handling error. Copper, unlike inert metals, reacts constantly with its environment. It darkens. It spots. It corrodes. This makes high-grade copper coins exponentially rarer than their mintages suggest. By 1957, pennies were circulating aggressively, meaning wear began almost immediately. Luster vanished quickly. Contact marks multiplied. The wheat ears on the reverse softened, their fine veins disappearing into smoothness. Lincoln's cheek and jawline bore the brunt of friction. What survived was history being erased in real time. And yet, in an almost defiant act against entropy, a microscopic number of 1957 wheat cents escaped circulation entirely. These coins remained sealed away, untouched by hands, air, and time. Professional graders at PCGs and NGC recognized these survivors instantly. Under magnification, they search for blazing original mint luster, uninterrupted across both obverse and reverse. They evaluate strike sharpness, especially in the wheat stalks, an area notoriously weak on late-era cents. They scrutinize surfaces for the faintest hairline that could indicate cleaning or mishandling. Cleaning, even when well-intentioned, destroys value instantly. It strips away originality and replaces it with damage that cannot be undone. That is why truly pristine 1957 wheat cents exist in numbers so small they almost feel theoretical. Population reports from PCGs and NGC confirm this scarcity, and the market responds accordingly. When one of these coins emerges graded at the absolute top tier, collectors do not hesitate. They understand that this may be the last opportunity for years, possibly decades. That understanding has driven documented valuations to an astonishing $15 million. A figure that shocks casual viewers, but aligns perfectly with elite numismatic logic. This value is not about hype. It is about finality. The wheat cent design would soon disappear, replaced by a new reverse, making the 1957 issue one of the last chances to capture perfection in a historic series. For anyone watching who might possess a 1957 wheat cent, caution is essential. Do not clean it. Do not test it. Do not store it loosely. Place it immediately in a protective holder. Professional grading is not optional at this level. PCGs and NGC authentication transforms speculation into documented reality. Selling such a coin demands precision. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers attract buyers who understand population rarity and condition census. Private sales through trusted numismatic dealers can yield exceptional results when discretion matters. Selling impulsively, or through uninformed channels, risks catastrophic loss. This coin teaches a quiet but powerful truth. The most valuable things are often ignored until it is almost too late. As the story of the 1957 Lincoln wheat cent settles in, it becomes clear that this coin is more than a standalone rarity. It is the culmination of everything collectors chase: survival against probability, condition against time, and meaning against neglect. This coin challenges the assumption that the end of a series is unimportant. In reality, the end is often where scarcity concentrates, because attention has already moved on. Collectors of the era were not hoarding wheat cents anymore. They assumed the series was complete and unremarkable. That collective blindness allowed perfection to become invisible. From a grading perspective, this is where the standards become ruthless. PCGs and NGC graders demand absolute surface integrity. Red designation is critical. Red-brown examples, while attractive, cannot compete at the highest tier. Full red coins from this year are statistical anomalies. Thickness consistency confirms originality. Weight verification ensures no metal loss. Diameter precision supports authenticity. Every measurement reinforces legitimacy. There is no romance in this process, only discipline. And that discipline is what transforms copper into legend. The psychology of collecting reaches its peak here. When collectors compete for a top population 1957 wheat cent, they are not buying metal. They are buying closure. They are buying the final perfect chapter of a design that defined American pocket change for half a century. Demand continues to rise as more collectors recognize the historical importance of late-series perfection. Supply, however, is frozen. No new examples will appear unless forgotten collections surface. Estate sales remain the final frontier. That possibility keeps the hunt alive. It keeps knowledge valuable. It keeps education essential. This is why channels like World Rare Coin exist. Not to promise fantasy, but to arm viewers with understanding. If this story has changed the way you see pennies, like this video, subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the knowledge you gain here protects you from mistakes and opens doors to opportunity. Share this video with collectors who still believe pennies cannot matter. Because the truth is now undeniable. A single cent, overlooked for decades, can carry history, scarcity, and value beyond imagination. And as this trilogy closes, remember this: rarity does not shout. It whispers. And only those who listen closely ever hear it.